Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe am letzten Tag meines Trips nach Vancouver. Bei mir ist Dyment von Gatekeeper und wir haben, ich glaube, vor 9 Monaten, 12 Monaten das letzte Interview gehabt. Und ja, am Anfang hat die Company eigentlich sehr gut performt und jetzt ist sie ziemlich weit herunten. Der Grund, warum das so ist, wird er uns sicher selber sagen können oder am besten sagen können, und vielleicht ist es ja jetzt genau eine Kaufchance, eine Buying Opportunity, wie es so schön im Neudeutsch heißt. Doug, thank you for your time. I think since our last interview, is it 12 months ago, I think so?
Yes.
In the first phase, it's going up nicely, but then it's come down, the share price, a little bit. It's really strong related also to the second quarter numbers, what you're coming up, and it shows a decrease in the revenue, but a positive results on the earnings side. But maybe you can fill us in a little bit. What was the reason for this decrease, and how, and what is much more important, how the future looks like?
Yeah, so you're talking about the you're stepping back to the second quarter, which was just after we completed the financing, right? And by the way, the timing of the financing was quite good for the company. We were able to build up valuable cash that's required to grow the business and strengthen up our balance sheet. And of course, one of the reasons that we decided to raise some capital, at that particular point in time, was because of the activity that was going on in the sales funnel. So I'll give you an example. In 2015, Gatekeeper landed approximately 17 projects that were $100,000 or more, representing approximately $2.7 million in business out of the $5.9 million that we had done that particular year. In 2016, a year later, we landed approximately the same amount of deals, so about 18 deals worth $100,000 or more, and that represented almost $6 million in business. So our business and the size of the projects is definitely changing, and the sales funnel is starting to show that. So our current prior to doing the financing, our current working capital was between $2.5 and $3 million. Some of the sizes of the deals that are in our sales funnel are at a point where I was concerned that the amount of working capital we had would be a hindrance to us winning those deals or competing, fairly, I suppose, because some of the companies we're competing with are larger companies and they've got bigger balance sheets. So we needed to strengthen our balance sheet, and that's what we did. Unfortunately, Q2, right after we closed the financing, was a soft quarter. There were a few deals there that we didn't land that we expected to land in the Q2. It never happened. And it's not like we lost those particular projects. There's just circumstances that were outside of our control that were more related to markets, and in our niche markets that, and in particular, each individual customer had some issues, that forced them just to push those orders back. But like I say, we haven't lost them. They're still in the sales funnel and we expect to close them, but it's just a matter of when are they actually going to close. So we're very bullish about our business. Are we happy with where the sales are at today? No, of course we're not, right? But we're very satisfied with the strength of the company because we still don't have any debt, and we've now got a much stronger cash position that allows us to do some things that we might not have been comfortable doing on the growth side.
How big is your cash position at the moment, or working capital?
Cash at the moment, working capital is close to about $8 million. Cash in the bank is about 6.2 to 6.5 million.
Compared to the market cap, I think the market cap is around 10.5.
Yes.
So you get the business nearly for free.
Exactly, right? So we're in a very strong position from a fundamental standpoint, and that's what I'm excited about because, and I will tell you this, and this is important for investors to understand, when a small company like Gatekeeper is growing, in order to attract good people to our company to work for us, we've got to be solid. We've got to have a strong balance sheet, and that's what's happening now. We are I feel like we're close to landing some individuals that I may not have been able to land with maybe a cash balance that was a little bit less, right? Or significantly less. So I feel like because of the financing, we've de-risked this situation for investors, and it puts us in a strong situation. So now we have to perform. The company's got to go out there and absolutely perform. We've got to land the deals. We've got to execute on our business model. We're not happy with the timing of some of the projects coming in, but we're still working those projects. Right?
Do you have any ideas who was the selling to the market that is coming the share price down to this 12 cent?
Yeah, it's interesting if you look at during the activity, the financing, and by the way, the financing was spoken for very quickly. We had different groups that came in, and we felt that was important that we get a new investor base coming to the table. So that's what happened. The stock actually traded on high volume all the way up to 34 cents, I believe, prior to closing the financing. Then the second quarter numbers came out, and they were a little bit soft. And then the stock just continued to push back. That in combination with, or come back a little bit. So that in combination with the fact that the company hasn't had a lot of news. We do have some interesting projects that we've landed that I've chose not to release because of competitive environment reasons. You will see me not put news out if I think that it could be harmful to a company that's developing because competitors will get access to it, right? I'll push back on that. I will not make a decision that could be in the benefit of the capital markets but hurt the business. I won't do that. I suspect in the next while we'll be able to put some news out and communicate the activity that's been going on in the business. But through that period when the stock was coming back off a little bit or significantly, there just wasn't a lot of news for investors to kind of sink their teeth into. But it was on not a lot of high volume. There is a significant support level here, so somebody's in buying at the moment. And
no, it's from the valuation standpoint that you say, okay, you have 10.5 million market cap and over 6 million cash and working capital 8 million. That means that you pay nearly nothing for the business itself, and the business itself create in the first half over 4 million revenue. So you have something. So it's from the valuation standpoint, it looks like that's very cheap. The question is now how the Q3, Q4 looks like or next year. So what is the expectation from the market, but on the one side, or what can you deliver maybe?
Yeah, that's the question. Is what does that projected forecast look like? And quite frankly, there is a significant amount of projects in our sales funnel. How many are we going to land? I just don't know. But I will tell you that if we land the projects that we're hopeful to land, there's some of them there that are larger than the entire last year's sales. So at the moment, Gatekeeper is a company that is that has quarters that are inconsistent. We're a developing company. So until we actually get our business to a point where our quarters are between 2 to 2.5 million in our slower quarter, there's going to be some risk that the company may lose some money, right? So, but the sales funnel is certainly supporting larger projects today, and the evidence is there. So it's really it's difficult to project what we're going to win. We're bidding deals right now that are significant. They're between $2 and $5 million ahead, right? And like I mentioned earlier, the size of the projects, say 2 years ago, we had 17 of them that were $100,000 or more, representing 2.7 million in business. Well, now some of the projects that we're actually bidding are 2.7 or 3 or 4 million. So because of conditions in the market, our increase in our R&D, adding features to our products, the fact that we are stronger, our balance sheet is stronger, we're attracting, you know, different types of customers to the table, and we're being looked at as a different type of company. So we're bidding, you know, bigger deals.
Yeah. Coming to the business itself, and I remember me that we talk a little bit in the past interviews through this for the thing what I want to ask you. You sell the product to the customer. How's it looks like on continuing revenues on working that you get
you're talking recurring revenue?
Yeah, recurring revenue.
So let me talk a little bit about that. So at the moment, Gatekeeper's, you know, the majority of our revenue is still a one-time sale, right? Where we bundle up our software and our hardware, and we'll average around, you know, 50% gross margin, or 48, sometimes 52. It's healthy margin, right? We offer great service and nice software application that keeps our margin, helps keep the margin high, or at that level. But as we move forward, I see Gatekeeper managing the video and offering up recurring revenue services that we're currently not offering, right? So we're bidding projects at the moment that are offering up recurring revenue. Mm-hmm. So if you remember during our last conversation, a business that we are engaged in is the stop arm camera business in North America.
It was the last press release also.
Exactly. We closed off a project in Chattooga, and we just did a recent media day down there, which typically kicks off the project. It starts the project, and they've got a significant amount of incidents there. So we'll see how many incidents there are, but we now have 5 recurring revenue projects. That was going to be our first recurring revenue model business, and we've now got 5 underneath our umbrella that are either operating or close to operations. So that's a portion of our business that we're quite bullish on, even though it's taken time to build. So there are other recurring revenue projects that we want to execute on, and that includes offering services from a remote site for managing video and managing the data that we collect. Mm-hmm. So I see that as being a big part of the future. I want Gatekeeper to grow into a very big company, and or a much bigger valuation than we've currently got, obviously. And I see us being able to do that by managing the data that we collect.
Mm-hmm. So when you look in the future, 5 years ago, 5
years from now.
What do you think the split between current one-time sales and continuous revenues streams?
I think that's a great question. It's a very difficult question to answer, and one of the reasons is that the markets are the customers in some of these government agencies that we deal with. They're traditionally use their capital money to buy equipment. Mm-hmm. However, there's a portion of the market out there that I believe is going to want subscription type services from us. And that would include the equipment itself, as well as services for managing the video that we collect, and even doing other things, for instance, monitoring driver behavior patterns. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you think about what the information that Gatekeeper collects, we collect video of incidents that are happening in and around the bus, so in the vehicle as well as outside the vehicle. We integrate GPS and speed and hard decelerations, hard accelerations, turning signals, brakes, those sorts of things. So our system will create an alarm when there's an event like a hard deceleration. Well, our customers are asking us at the moment to look at creating reports for them that tell them what their drivers are, actually their behavior patterns are, so they can prevent accidents. Mm-hmm. So I see that business as being a hosted service, mm-hmm. right? I see that as being part of the future. So So our equipment is not just about recording, safety and security type applications. It's also about, security. It's also about the safety side of, managing a fleet. And we're in the process of launching, new server applications that allow us to, to do that. So in the future, say 5 years from now, you may see in 5 years, you may see 80% of our revenue being recurring and 20% being, I don't know if it'll be that high, but I could certainly project it being at least 50-50. Right.
That's a huge number.
It is it's a big number, but I believe that I believe that is the way that the market is going to trend in the future.
Brings me to one last question: security, especially when you have this kind of data. Do you need also, and security is a major point around the globe, how you can secure the data, especially when it's running the way from the vehicle to your system, monitoring, and back to the client?
Yes, and that's a great question. So the level of security is determined by the types of data that you're actually managing off site. So, for instance, if you're collecting images of children, well, that is in most cases that information is not to be shared with anybody. It has to be highly secured. So if there is a remote service that's put in place and you're recording images of children inside school buses, as an example, then that has to be locked down, and nobody is, unless they've got special permission, to have access to it. So security is very important. If you're dealing with behavioral type issues, driver behavior type issues, that could be looked at a little bit differently, as far as the level of security that, that's required. We may have some of our customers that will want to host the video that's being managed by Gatekeeper on their servers locally. So that's the beauty of our system, is that we could set up a local service where they have their hardware locked down, but we may be managing and have access to the data based on certain permissions that they give us.
That's not bad. And if something happened, something hacked the system or something, that's not your.
It's not our responsibility. It would be on them. So there's different conversations that we're having with different customer groups on the security side of things. But it's definitely something that we have to pay close attention to. And I don't see, if you look at how we're building our stop arm camera business, we've got enough capability in our corporate office to manage 20 projects. Once we get beyond 20 projects, I'm not going to be building out a server farm at our corporate office. No. We'll be partnering with either Amazon or Microsoft, and we'll be porting our software onto their server farms. And they've already got all of the major security, set up. So it's not like Gatekeeper would have to put new security policies in place. We will abide by the requirements that are driven by the customer, but it'll be the big companies that already have the security systems in place, that are already managing, data on their hardware. That's where I see. I don't see Gatekeeper creating a new server farm.
No. That was not the question. If you create your own server farm, it was more how to handle all this security data. Then security is a major portion of all IT services. What you
absolutely, yeah.
Doug, I think it was a great update about the company. To summarize, you have a lot of cash through your last financing. What you do it in a great time. The sales are at the moment a little bit soft. The problem is more not that that the people don't want your product. It's more that some delays and so on, and compete with other ones.
I'll give you just a quick example so your investors understand what might be causing delays for some customers. We have a large contractor that is supposed to be spending close to $1 million with us. Well, they had an increase in school bus driver salaries. Some of that money had to go to paying salaries. That delayed the purchase of video equipment. We had another large customer that the school district decided to buy textbooks. They put $2 million in textbooks instead of video systems. So those things happen. It doesn't necessarily mean that the requirement for video has disappeared. It just means there's delays. So I would say to the investors, look, you've invested in Gatekeeper because of a long-term growth plan. There's going to be opportunities for when the spikes in sales are there, and to acquire more stock and maybe average down. I think this is one of those opportunities because the company has never been stronger. Our balance sheet is in a great position. I'm not going to go out and spend that money. I'll be smart in how we spend money because that's the way I operate. And we're gonna execute on our business plan just like we said. There are going to be some years that are going to be off. There's going to be some quarters that are offside. But I think after a 3 to 5 year plan here, I think investors that are able to take advantage of the dips in the stock are going to do very well.
I think it was a good summarizing.
All right, very good.
Ja, bei Gatekeeper schaut es ja so aus, wenn man sich jetzt den Aktienkurs anschaut, dann schaut das aus katastrophal. Die Aktie ist ziemlich stark nach unten gekommen. Aber jetzt kommen wir zum Positiven. Sie haben im Frühjahr eine Finanzierung gemacht bei 20 Cent. Die haben über 4 Millionen Dollar reingenommen. Sie haben jetzt über 6 Millionen Cash. Das ganze Working Capital liegt bei 8 Millionen. Die Market Cap liegt ungefähr bei 10,5 Millionen. Also wenn man das so in Summe betrachtet, ist die Aktie extrem billig bewertet. Er hat jetzt dann ein paar Probleme angesprochen, warum es zu teilweise Verzögerungen gekommen ist bei diversen Verkäufen. Es ist nicht so, dass das Produkt nicht mehr nachgefragt wird, ganz im Gegenteil, aber es kommt halt leider, wenn man oft mit Government oder mit regierungsnahen Organisationen zusammenarbeiten, zu Verzögerungen, weil halt das Geld woanders gebraucht wird. Er hat ein paar Beispiele auch zum Schluss jetzt genannt, dass man halt, weiß nicht, irgendwelche Bücher gekauft hat oder eben die Löhne stärker gestiegen sind bei den Busdrivers und dadurch ist halt hat es einfach Verzögerungen gegeben. Und er sagt selber, das sind halt einfach, sie sind in einem Transformationsprozess. In 5 Jahren sollten diese kontinuierlichen Umsätze, die über Kontrakte gemacht werden, mindestens 50% sein und momentan ist es fast alles nur Einmalverkäufe. Und das Business dauert halt Zeit, bis dass man das wechselt, aber es ist natürlich danach ein viel stabileres Business, wenn man halt kontinuierliche Einnahmen hat. Und er meint halt, man muss jetzt solche Chancen eigentlich nützen, weil in den nächsten 2-3 Jahren wird es immer solche Quartale geben, die schlecht ausschauen, die nach unten gegangen sind, weil es halt einfach Verzögerungen gegeben hat bei ihren Konsumenten. Sie kämpfen, sie haben durchaus Konkurrenz, deswegen gibt er auch nicht so viel News raus, wie er rausgeben könnte, weil er will die Konkurrenz nicht in eine bessere Position bringen als notwendig. Das heißt, er wird nur das veröffentlichen, was tatsächlich drinnen ist. Klingt spannend, also ich muss ehrlich sagen, es klingt sogar sehr spannend, jetzt überhaupt bei diesen 12 Cent, wo wir momentan sind. Vergessen Sie nicht, vor ein paar Monaten haben Investoren 20 Cent bezahlt, jetzt sind wir bei 12 Cent, also 40% niedriger. Die Company hat keine Schulden, über 6 Millionen Cash, 8 Millionen Working Capital und 10,5 Millionen Marktkapitalisierung. Also kriegt man das Business nahezu geschenkt und vergessen Sie nicht, das Business ist, die haben tatsächlich ein Business. Sie haben im ersten Halbjahr über 4,5 Millionen Umsatz gemacht und das ist eigentlich das Spannende daran. Also, wenn Sie es schaffen, dass Sie wirklich dieses Business auf die kontinuierlichen Umsätze umstellen können, dann haben Sie eigentlich es geschafft, weil dann hat man nachher kein Problem mehr und dann schaut es extrem gut aus. Das war es von Gatekeeper Oktober 2017. Tschüss und Baba. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you.